Well, guys, the Diablo beta is over, and if you're like me, you just can't really wait to get back into that world. I had a great time with Diablo 4. I think it's a good step in the right direction for the franchise, but we do have a little ways until we're able to get back into the game. So what I want to do today is go over some games that might help scratch that Diablo itch. And we're going to get things started off with Last Epoch. So Last Epoch is a game that I've followed for almost my entire YouTube career, and it's come a very, very long way since its first iteration. It's made the jump from a fledgling action RPG to a game that actually has a vibrant community and is one of the top games to check out. Now, in Last Epoch, you are a traveler. You're going to use time travel to visit different eras throughout time, ranging from the Divine Era to the Ruined Era, in order to search for a way to save the world from the Void. It's pretty heavy stuff. Last Epoch offers deep character customization in the form of individual specialization trees for each skill, an overarching passive tree for your class, and tons of loot. That way you can go out and farm things, collect all the loot you need, and build the ultimate character. Now the game does have 15 different classes with 3 more on the way. There's roughly 15 to 20 hours of campaign with lots and lots of extra hours built into their endgame system called monoliths. Now these are randomized maps that you'll work through, you'll fight bosses, you'll farm uniques, and you'll be refining your build along the way. There's a lot more to this endgame system in terms of intricacies, and I highly recommend checking out some of the endgame videos that are out on YouTube. Now Last Epoch also offers a crafting system that lets players add affixes, upgrade rarities, or completely erase a piece of gear. Now the system itself is easy to understand, but there is an RNG element to it. Now for me, Last Epoch has been a solid action RPG that I visit multiple times throughout the year, and while it's not perfect, if you do enjoy games like Path of Exile and Diablo, it's definitely worth checking out. You can pick up Last Epoch today for $35 on Steam. Now speaking of Path of Exile, let's shift gears and talk about that one a little bit. So Path of Exile is entering its 10th year, which makes me feel old as hell. Now the Path of Exile is still the king of action RPGs with its never-ending stream of seasonal content known as leagues. The vast amount of builds, items, and playstyles you can experiment with continue to add to the overall experience that you're going to see. Now the skill tree is often the most talked about thing for Path of Exile. It's incredibly overwhelming for new players. People will see it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is scary. But it also offers insane levels of customization and ways to build a unique character. Path of Exile also provides tons of skills through items called skill gems. When you slot these into a piece of gear, these will equip your character with new skills. Then couple that with support gems, and suddenly that fireball that you equip to your character does a variety of things instead of just one. Now each year, Path of Exile releases leagues that add completely new features and systems to the game that provide a breath of fresh air. And if the community reacts well enough to these new features, sometimes they're added to the game permanently. Now outside of the deep customization the game offers, there are also tons of different systems you can engage with. Things like hideouts, which are your own personal areas that you can configure and decorate. Then, when it comes to endgame, Path of Exile focuses on maps, which are randomized levels that you can add modifiers to in order to crank up the difficulty, but also the rewards. Now, like Last Epoch, Path of Exile is a game that I do check out multiple times throughout the year to see what new things the leagues have added, what new builds are currently viable, and really just kind of check out how things are going. Path of Exile is available today as a free-to-play action RPG. However, there is a cash shop where you can buy things like cosmetics and extra stash tabs. To continue with the older action RPG hype train, let's talk about Grim Dawn. This is another older action RPG that still holds its own against all newcomers. This game comes from the same team behind Titan Quest and gives players tons of different ways to hack and slash their way through its base game, 2 expansions, and 1 DLC. When it comes to customization, Grim Dawn definitely doesn't fall short. It actually ups a lot of games that are out there today. Players are able to choose between 2 classes from the 6 that are offered, you gain access to their skills and passives, and you can mix all of them together to form a brand new class. And speaking of skills and items, you can collect tons of different items across rare, epic, and legendary rarities in order to kit out your character to take on any enemies in your way. Now, one other thing you get to tweak your character is through devotions, which are constellations that offer passives that'll change how certain skills and passives work. Now, when it comes to actual gameplay, you can expect a massive world to explore full of caves, cellars, and even a roguelike dungeon system to conquer. Now, the last thing I want to mention is that Grim Dawn has some fantastic mod support. There are lots of different ways to augment the game, including a full remake of Diablo 2 built into Grim Dawn. It's fantastic. It's called the Reign of Terror mod, and I highly recommend checking it out. So all in all, Grim Dawn is one of my favorite action RPGs of all time, and there is a reason that it's a game that I and many others revisit so often. So right now you can get Grim Dawn for $25, but they often do very, very deep promotions where you can get the base game for $6 or $7, and then you can buy the additional DLCs as well. Now for our last game, let's talk about one that's a little bit different. So if you don't mind pixel graphics and you want a different action RPG to try, give Chronicon a look. This is a game from a solo developer that has honestly really surprised me over the years. So Chronicon comes with 4 classes in the base game with a 5th class available for purchase. Now the world of Chronicon spans across 5 acts, each with their own storyline as you travel through time and dimensions in order to help others in need. But when it comes to the loot, you do have over 700 items and 400 uniques to collect that all come with special powers, enchants, and there are even some set items to chase in the game. Chronicon, however, also offers players an infinite progression system through its mastery feature. So as you continue to gain experience, you're going to level up and gain mastery points. These can be spent on a variety of passives in order to improve your build. And when it comes to endgame, again, you are looking at randomized dungeons, aka maps, in the form of mythic dungeons. These are complete with bosses as well as a unique endgame crafting system. Chronicon is available today for $14 on Steam. So those are the top 5 that I recommend to kind of scratch that Diablo itch, but obviously we do have a few honorable mentions that I want to talk about. One, we have Diablo 2 Resurrected. This is the most direct way to go back and sort of get your Diablo fix. We have Torchlight 2, which is another fantastic game that offers incredible mod support, including the Synergies mod that completely adds a ton of new stuff to the game, including a new town, new systems, tons of new items, I believe new classes. It's just an incredible, incredible mod. And then lastly, Anima Reign of Darkness, which is one I really like. It sort of has that Diablo 2 feel as well. It's also available on mobile, but truth be told, I really like it on Steam instead. The mobile version doesn't really do it for me. So guys, those are all of the games that I recommend to check out if you want to sort of get your Diablo 4 fix without necessarily being able to log into Diablo 4. So let's get to talking in the comment section below. What games do you recommend, or how are you filling the void between now and then? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.